So it's so interesting that this would be my topic today, with men too. Because in the prior post, where the hell is Me Too? Why isn't Me Too talking about this? Well, what's interesting about this is the very first Melanin Tingler that I posted was about one of the founders of the Me Too movement. So take a look. And as I told you before, this was pre Arcani coil care, enthroned edges, edge control. So don't judge me, okay? All right, but take a look, and the information still applies. So I've been thinking about doing these stories that I'm going to call Melanin Tinglers, right? So these are going to be stories that I hear about in the news that just, as my mom would say, there's some hair in that milk. You know what I mean? Just something about it. There's more to this story that I don't know what it is, but something. All right. So melanin, my first Melanin Tingler. So, okay, you know about the Me Too movement. First of all, let's give credit where credit is due. The Me Too movement was started by Tarana Burke. She's from Harlem. She started the movement over a decade ago. Unfortunately, her movement was hijacked and altered to fit someone else's agenda. To the founder of Me Too, girl, what was that? If you guys don't know, the founder of Me Too, Tarana Burke, she said, why is it my job to hold white men accountable? Girl, it is our job to hold all predators accountable, regardless of race. Girl. So are you only going to hold black, or are you only going after black men? Don't forget about the women. I've been telling y'all about these women out here. Are we not going to talk about the women? Girl. Baby girl. Is that what we're doing? Well, not me. Okay. Now let's move on to one of the hijackers, Asia Argentina. Yeah, so you remember her name, okay? She was one of the people leading the charge against Harvey Weinstein. So what made my melanin tingle on this story is she was with Anthony Bourdain when he committed suicide. Just something about it, I didn't know what it was, but something made my melanin tingle. Let's fast forward to today. Now, so I'm not a big fan of, I didn't watch Anthony Bourdain's show. Not that I didn't like him or anything, but I just didn't watch the show. So, but I just remember it being so weird to me that he killed himself. And then they released some story about how she was caught cheating on him. She was in another country with some young dude, and he found out, and that's why he killed himself. It just, my melanin, y'all, my melanin was like, there's some hair in that milk. So moving on. So basically, Asia Argentino was recently accused of sexual harassment by a minor. Well, he was a minor at the time. His name is Jimmy Bennett. He was a child actor. So the Los Angeles Times says, why does Bennett say he did not immediately report the incident? In a statement issued Wednesday, Bennett, now 22, says that until now he was afraid and ashamed to speak about the incident that happened in 2013. I did not initially speak out about my story because I chose to handle it in private with the person who wronged me. My trauma resurfaced as she came out as a victim herself, he said in a statement. I have not made a public statement in the past days and hours because I was ashamed to be a part of a public narrative. At the time, I believed there was still a stigma to being in the situation as a male in our society. I didn't think that people would understand that the event took place from the eyes of a teenage boy, Bennett said in a statement. I would like to move past this event in my life, and today I chose to move forward. I'm no longer in silence. Bennett said that he tried to seek justice in a way that made sense to him. They worked together on a movie several years before the meeting at Marina Del Rey Hotel. I guess that's where that incident occurred. Question, how is this connected to Anthony Bourdain? Argentino said she made the settlement at the urging of Bourdain, who she was dating at the time. Bourdain, a legendary food author and television personality, became an outspoken supporter of the Me Too movement. Anthony insisted that the matter be handled privately, and this was also what Bennett wanted. Anthony was afraid of the possibility of negative publicity that such a person whom he considered dangerous could have brought this upon us, Argentino said in her statement. Bourdain killed himself in June. Where does this leave the Me Too movement? Many Me Too movement activists have expressed outrage at what Argentino has been accused of doing, and some say this is a reminder that many sexual assault allegations are at the core about unfair power dynamics. Jeannie Harrison, an attorney representing one of the Weinstein's accusers, said an abuser can never be ignored, even if the alleged wrongdoer is a Me Too leader. Though it seems incomprehensible for victims to become victimizers, history and storytelling are replete with examples of exactly this transformation, Harrison said. Victims need support and an excellent therapy to have the best chance for full recovery in healthy relationships, including themselves. Now, I'm not disagreeing with that statement, but to me, sounds like you're going a little easy on her. This is a child. It sounds like you're going easy on her. I'm not saying that victims don't need help. I'm just saying this is a teenage boy. The boy said he's a teenager. He was a teenager. So let's move on to the next part. So as I Googled the Anthony Bourdain girlfriend story, another story came up that I thought was really interesting. It is about a Democratic Assemblywoman in California named Garcia. She says, and this is in Washington Post, earlier today, I learned that the allegations of unwanted sexual harassment against me were found to be unsubstantiated, Garcia wrote in the statement through a spokeswoman. In regard to the three issues that were unsubstantiated, she apologized to her colleagues and staff and constituents for instances where my use of language was less than professional. I want to assure everyone that I have learned from this experience and I will do everything in my power to make amends to you, Garcia said. She later clarified that the substantiated allegations in a second news release, again apologizing for any disrespect and dishonor I have brought to the institution. She pledged to take corrective action in addition to disciplinary action brought by Rendon. Investigators found that Garcia commonly and pervasively used vulgar language around staff, according to a letter sent to attorney Dan Gillian, who represents several former staffers, accusing Garcia of misconduct, the AP reported. Fierro told the Washington Post's Derek Hawkins in February that Garcia approached him alone after an assembly softball game in 2014, squeezed his buttocks, and tried to touch his crotch when Garcia appeared intoxicated. Fierro, who was 25 at the time, said he did not report the incident because he was worried about the consequences of accusing a powerful lawmaker of misconduct. Fierro told the Sacramento Bee Thursday that he is planning on appealing the investigation's outcome. He also condemned Garcia for the way that she announced the probe's findings before they were finalized by the assembly. Fierro has 10 days to appeal the results. I find it incredibly inappropriate that a sitting member of assembly would jump ahead of an established appeal process to release information before it was appropriate, he told the Sacramento Bee. He also criticized the way the investigation was carried out, claiming that some of the witnesses he provided to the assembly were never interviewed. This is disappointing and it still leaves serious questions, he said. This process is incredibly opaque. Garcia has been in voluntary unpaid leave of absence in a second news release, again apologizing for any disrespect and dishonor I have brought to the institution. She pledged to take corrective action in addition to disciplinary action brought by Rendon. Investigators found that Garcia commonly and pervasively used vulgar language around staff, according to a letter sent to attorney Dan Gillian, who represents several former staffers, accusing Garcia of misconduct, the AP reported. Fierro told the Washington Post's Derek Hawkins in February that Garcia approached him alone after an assembly softball game in 2014, squeezed his buttocks, and tried to touch his crotch when Garcia appeared intoxicated. Fierro, who was 25 at the time, said he did not report the incident because he was worried about the consequences of accusing a powerful lawmaker of misconduct. Fierro told the Sacramento Bee Thursday that he is planning on appealing the investigation's outcome. He also condemned Garcia for the way that she announced the probe's findings before they were finalized by the assembly. Fierro has 10 days to appeal the results. I find it incredibly inappropriate that a sitting member of assembly would jump ahead of an established appeal process to release information before it was appropriate, he told the Sacramento Bee. He also criticized the way the investigation was carried out, claiming that some of the witnesses he provided to the assembly were never interviewed. This is disappointing and it still leaves serious questions, he said. This process is incredibly opaque. Garcia has been in voluntary unpaid leave of absence since February. when Fierro first filed the allegations against her. Okay. Just got my melanin tingling.